is another story, of course, that has been developing since, the course of the day, and that's the report into the allegations of racism at Stellenbosch University. It's found that black people don't feel welcome into the institution. Judge Sisi Khampepe has been leading the probe since June this year. It came after a public outcry following apparent racial incidents that caused an uproar. Now, in one of them, Theuns du Toit was seen urinating on the study desk of a fellow student, Babalo Ndwayana. And let's speak now to Professor Nico Koopman, who is Stellenbosch University's Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Social Impact, Transformation and Personnel. Prof, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. The report says the university has made impressive theoretical strides towards transformation, but that these simply are not translating adequately into the lived experiences of students and staff. How does the university respond to this?
Thank you. Good afternoon, and great to commune with you and the viewers, and thanks that we can reflect also on the report. It is indeed one of the main challenges that the report brought to the fore for us. It is said that colleagues of ours and students feel alienated, and this prompts us to with greater commitment translate what the judge is saying, our very good apparatus and our very good theoretical frameworks into practice, to say we must, with more intensity, work towards an institutional culture of inclusivity, of belonging, and especially of co-ownership. Our students during the student protests, especially of 2015 and 2016, pleaded that we work towards full co-ownership for all who study at the university, and this is one of our top priorities. This is what the report highlights, and in a dedicated way and with big urgency, we will address especially this specific finding and recommendation.
And I wonder, Prof, how do, those who are watching tonight, inclusive of your students, trust that this is going to happen? I remember you talk about the protests in 2015, and at the same time we saw a research thesis by Elena Kamanga in 2020, looking at the lived experiences of hidden racism, and some of those that, Elena spoke to at the institution where you are right now, continue to talk about this culture of being excluded, that they're not wanted. Some of them saying that they can't even take part in conversations. Their counterparts are speaking in Afrikaans, signaling that they don't want them to be part of this conversation. So fast forward, we're now in 2022. How do they believe that this particular report is going to translate into action?
I think what is important is that we must journey together. The important thing is that staff and students from all backgrounds must work together. A specific recommendation from the report is, for instance, that for all students who study at Stellenbosch University, all of them must participate in our transformation training courses that we offer. It cannot be just a few who participate. So that must be made compulsory for students, but the same also for staff. The Council of Stellenbosch University has decided that 25% of the KPIs, the key performance areas of all staff, must be dedicated to transformation. And a major part of that should then be that staff participate in transformation competency building workshops and courses. This is a commitment from the university, and it's a commitment that can be assessed and measured, and regular progress reports can be given about this. So we really want to get to things, commitments that can be measured, commitments for which there are time frames.
And Prof, are you also then committing to dealing with the issues of haze mare? Because they come up again in the report, especially the relations between the students and the residents' head. And there's even a further recommendation to look at possibly removing the resident head in order to try and also foster social cohesion there.
Absolutely. There's a concrete recommendation. The rectorate, that is the executive management of the university, will look in detail into that recommendation and give appropriate execution to that recommendation in specifically.
And when you look at this particular institution and the history that we've seen, and we've seen, of course, a lot of, talk around Afrikaans and also being mentioned again in this particular report, how much of damage has been done in your own assessment in this particular university, particularly when you look at how the black students, the colored community, and also the Indian community, because even when you look at the thesis that was also done, it references these three communities particularly also feeling excluded. And now again, you're here. How much damage has already been caused by some of the issues that have been playing out there?
May I make two remarks on this?
Yes.
The question of overcoming subconscious prejudices and biases, both conscious ones and subconscious ones, prejudices of discrimination and dehumanization is something that we in South Africa, at the Stellenbosch University, other universities, and in other institutions, but also even worldwide, have to address consistently and deliberately. It causes pain to so many of us, especially those prejudices on the subconscious level. You can be on the conscious level against racism or sexism or homophobia, but on the subconscious level, you still cause pain. And so a lot of our work must go into conscientizing people and really retraining people. But the second one that you refer to, also the language thing, it's important. Stellenbosch University has a language policy of multilinguality, a policy that makes room also for Afrikaans and for the development and strengthening of isiXhosa in addition to English. Our policy is based on the former policy that stood the test of the Constitutional Court. It says in the multilingual South Africa, we can practice multilingualism that is in service of dignity, in service of justice, in service of the human rights principles of our country. That can be done. But what the judge has indicated is in informal interaction and also in social interaction, there's a weakness. There people speak Afrikaans and that lead to exclusion. And that's a challenge for us to say, how are we going to implement policy of multilinguality also in the informal and social circles that it doesn't contribute to alienation?
Definitely, Prof, and it looks like you've got your work cut out for you, especially when you look at this report. Let's see then, as we monitor the progress that is being made here, as you say that there needs to be frequent report backs on what is being done. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time this evening. Do appreciate it. That's Professor Nico Koopman, Stellenbosch University's Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Social Impact, Transformation and Personnel.